DORK podcast with Rich Keefe. It's the DORK podcast. Ryan Davey. It's the DORK podcast. Hashtag. It's the hashtag DORK podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hashtag Dork. My name is Rich Keefe, joined as always by Davey Eyeballs. He is Rock Von Dock. All hail the king of ginger ale. It's Ryan Davey. Davey, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, it's a blast on my end. Right. I watch a lot of movies, right?
Sure do.
Let's quit messing around. Let's quit lying to everybody. I watch a lot of movies.
Yeah. It's about time. I'm glad you came clean, finally.
I've been keeping this pretty close to the vest for a while. And let's see. I am now up to 2024 releases. I'm up to 42 on the year.
Christ.
And obviously a lot of trips to the theater, but really like a ton of streamers. Like as soon as they come out, some of them were direct to streaming. Others came out first handful of months of the year, and now they're already available on streaming, including the two in the topic du jour today.
And the window is getting tighter for these things as well, which is lovely.
Yes,
it's like 2 months.
Right out.
I just read that Deadpool and Wolverine is October 1st on Disney Plus.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll watch that night probably.
Seven or eight more times. I'll just put it on in the background on like loop.
I'm very excited. Yeah, some of these movies come out pretty quickly and you can like rent them or buy them, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But then a lot of them are just like free for streaming. So the first one we're going to talk about is currently on HBO Max. Then the second one is on Hulu. So you should be able to watch both of these bad boys. I say we do something a little bit different this time, Ryan. I don't think we've ever done this. This is a first. So you can remember where you are. Because we're doing two movies, and there's a chance that maybe you haven't seen one or both. And rather than time stamping things, I say we do spoiler free for both. Then we do spoiler full for both.
Wow.
And we talk about them back and forth. No. We take one at a time. But I'm going to talk about one. Davey's going to talk about the other. No.
I'm going to go spoilers first, which is a rare thing. Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell you which one I'm talking about. No.
You're going to have to guess. Good podcasting.
Yeah. Like we're just going to combine the two movies and pretend that they happen at the same time. No. So what we're going to do is we're going to first start out talking about Civil War. Do spoiler free, get into that, give our dork score and everything else, whether we recommend it or not. Then we're going to do spoiler free for Boy Kills World, and then we'll spoil them in that order. That way everybody can be cocked and locked, and maybe you got to come back and listen to it later. That makes sense?
Also, I need to address what Chet said in the chat. So Chet said in the chat, including all the Medea movies are on streaming right now.
Yeah.
I have an admission to make, Richard.
Did you watch one of them on Netflix right now?
I tried to watch Boo, a Medea Halloween.
Just in time for spooky season?
I made it 10 minutes and I was like, I can't do this.
So you didn't watch Boo 2 right after?
I did not.
There's some good stuff.
I couldn't do it.
Stuff in there. All right.
Oh man, Medea. I don't even think Medea made it on the screen yet. It was like
you gotta wait for Medea.
Scene. No, it was like a college scene. Like the people were like way too old to be in college, and like you could tell that like they're all like actors, so like none of them really went to college.
Yeah.
Or whoever wrote the script, like where did Tyler Perry go to college?
Harvard.
Did he?
Probably.
Let's see. Tyler Perry. Nope. Tyler Perry failed to graduate from high school. He also did not attend or graduate from college. So
didn't need it.
I was going to say, you could tell the person who wrote it never went to college.
There's a little bit of that, huh?
Yeah.
Right. There was a good scene in, I think it's Medea Goes to Jail, where Medea is just given
she is the business, just giving him
the judge exactly a piece of her mind. And it is like the judge can't keep up.
Because she's quick.
The lawyer's like, Medea, please. And then Medea just keeps on just giving it
and
to her.
She's like, hello. Yeah.
Most of the time, hello. Yeah.
Most of the time, that's what she says. That's
a really tall woman, though. Really tall woman, put some heels on Medea. It's a presence.
If like Mrs. Doubtfire had more sass, that's what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, Medea Goes to Jail, I think, is on Netflix right now. Caught myself watching a little bit of that the other day. You know who's in that?
Who?
Sofia Vergara. Ever heard of
Yes.
Sofia Vergara?
Heard of her, yeah.
And the girl who played Rudy Huxtable in Cosby Show.
That's right.
Rudy. Bud. Yeah.
Bud.
What a great film.
Rudy.
The kids today don't know what the jazz is all about. You see,
That's pretty good.
is who put the pudding pops in the sleeping bag?
Oh, that was one of the funniest delivered lines I've ever heard in my life. Can we tell that story? Have we told that story before?
The pudding pops.
So Rich and I were on a baseball trip in high school, and in a room, it was the two of us, our friend Cliffy, who was one of the goalies on the hockey team, and this kid Doug. And Doug, he got like really sick or something? He was like super sick. Like he got
Maybe.
like,
Well, on the
he had like a
trip?
stomach bug, or he like ate something bad because he was like, I forget, like he hadn't said anything like all day. Like he was like super sick or something.
Yeah.
And so you were doing like, if you ever were in a room with teenage Rich Keefe, like you could not go to bed, like ever, because you just were just like talking the whole time. So
I was
you were
gonna say,
doing like
Tuck
this
was probably
Cosby
quiet
impression.
'cause I wouldn't shut up. I was probably
And, like-
talking the entire time.
And so you were talking about Bill Cosby or something. And Doug, who hadn't said anything all day, just goes, "Who put the pudding pops in the sleeping bag?" And we just like losing our minds, like from left field.
No, I
Literally.
do remember. Now that you say that, I
Yeah.
remember like because we had like 3 cots in the
Yeah.
row, and he was like curled up in one of them, and we thought he was like
facing
dead.
the wall. I thought he was dead.
Assumed he was dead, and like yeah, right. He hadn't spoken in hours, and then he had one line, and then he rolled back over. Like, that was it for him. Like,
That was it for the day. He went out on a high.
All right,
But
good
I
one,
still
Doug.
do that. That's still part of like no one. I don't think anyone ever said that. Like he just made that up on the spot.
No, wasn't that on The Simpsons?
Was it?
Was that on The Simpsons? Simpsons had some Bill Cosby.
No, the one you did was from like Family Guy or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he did.
The
I don't know what-
yipping and the hopping and the bipping and the bopping.
Yeah. Brutal.
Anyway.
Guy's an absolute monster.
Oh, what a piece of
Cosby.
shit. Yeah. You really took the wind out of that sail, didn't you?
I was just
All
thinking about like what a monster that guy is.
Yeah, man.
Is he dead? No,
No.
still going.
Bet he wishes he was.
He and Weinstein still just alive.
Oh, yeah.
Brutal. Anyway.
Yeah, man.
Was that a toupee, you piece of shit?
All right, Ryan.
Y'all ready for bisque?
Where are we? What's happening?
That's one of my favorite like lines. It's such a sneaky line too. Like she's so mad. Like imagine being that mad if somebody had a toupee. Was that a toupee, you piece of shit?
I love like people getting mad on that show for no reason.
No reason. And like real hot.
Did
Yeah,
I
real hot on that.
what is it like? Did I what's the girl's name
Did
in
I
the office?
stutter,
Megan.
Megan? Yeah, Megan.
Megan.
Oh, it's so good.
I know that. I'm not stupid. I'm smarter than you.
Well, it's the topic of the day, and I'm glad you asked. It's Civil War and Boy Kills World is a true double feature here on #Dork. Let's start with Civil War, which is a 1 hour and 49-minute film, currently on Roddy T's 81% by the critics, 70% by the audience. We'll begin spoiler-free, Ryan. Civil War, did you like it?
Yeah, I kind of really like this movie.
Interesting.
Did you like it?
Not really. I didn't dislike it. I didn't really like it. I think
Yeah.
I might know why you liked it.
No, that's not what I know what you're gonna say, and partly. I
Yeah.
admittedly partly. Yeah.
So it's a dystopian thriller film. As some have said, the title might be somewhat misleading. I mean, there is a civil war going on, but it just
But
it's
it has
kind
like
of-
it's like at the end of it.
yeah, and like there's so much else going on. The characters that you're following, like that's not the most important thing. It's very broad. Like I was thinking as the movie was going on and as it was ending, and I'm like, what would I have called this? And I'm not really sure, but I don't think I would have called it Civil War. To me, there was like one part that really stood out, which we'll get to, which made me like overall like the movie, but it's certainly not one of my favorites of the year.
It's a movie that I think I definitely like was thinking about as the credits were rolling. Like I was definitely thinking a lot about that type of situation and like
Mhm.
what would really happen. Like,
Mhm.
and I don't think it was that far off.
Yeah, no, it's definitely possible. Like what happened. Now it's an Alex Garland movie. You may have heard of Alex Garland. He wrote 28 Days Later. What else? He wrote The Good Dread. He
Yes. Oh
wrote
my God, that movie rules.
Yeah, he wrote and directed Ex Machina,
Which
which
is
is an
I love that
amazing movie.
Yeah.
He wrote and directed Annihilation, which I really
Mhm.
like. That one's, I guess, a little bit more
Is that the one with Natalie Portman?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I never saw that one. I heard it was
Really
good though.
good. It's a good.
Yeah.
It's like it's borderline horror. It's definitely sci-fi, but it might be
Yeah.
horror. He wrote a movie called Men, which is a British folk horror. I've never seen it, but maybe I'll give that a rip. And then he's gonna be doing 28 years later. But yeah, anyway,
Years later, yeah.
so anyway, this one, Civil
He's
War.
got chops, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
Mm.
Kirsten Dunst, sort of the lead actress in this. A bunch of other actors and actresses who you might kind of recognize, but they aren't big names. There is Nick Offerman's in it, Jesse Plemons is in it, and yeah, like it's. I think it's a interesting premise for sure. The
I said
acting
it was
good.
interesting.
Yeah, no, I did. I did. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that it isn't. I'd be crazy. But I was just left being like, okay, like I don't know. I wouldn't call this a must see. I think it was worth my time. I'm glad I didn't spend money at the theater though. And like that ship has sailed. It's free to watch at home, but I don't know. Were you interested? Because this was one of the movies that we talked about when we previewed 2024. Remember, we were going through all of them, and I'm like, oh, that one looks pretty good. Neither one of us saw it in the theater, but was this one that you had circled?
No, and because again, like I think it came out in theaters for like a very short time, or it wasn't like a huge like wide release.
Yeah, it came out in
Um,
April, and so it's
It's
already
not like
5 months later. It's already
Yeah, and
yeah.
it was a movie. Like I said, like you said, I thought it was interesting. I thought that was an
Mhm.
interesting concept. But yeah, like pretty heavy subject matter.
Yeah.
And Kirsten Dunst is great in this movie. I think.
Mhm.
Like, yeah.
She yeah, a little bit different. Now, the photography aspect of it. I don't know if that's what you liked about it because
I did.
two
So
of the main
I
characters
liked
are
I liked a lot of it.
yeah.
Um, there were some things that I had issues with from a technical perspective.
Okay.
Like if it's 20 if it takes place, it's 2024, right? If you're bringing film cameras, and I get it, like, well, they don't need batteries. Like, I get that, but like,
Mhm.
if you're shooting on like actual film, like the young kid was in this movie, like you're a dickhead. Like in that situation,
Yeah. Well,
like
it's also hard to know what they had because like they were in some places that like had Wi-Fi, then a lot of other places were just like torched, and it
right.
was
So
like
that's how they kind of got around it. Like they
yeah,
kind of reasoned that like,
yeah,
and there weren't a lot of places to like charge. So like I get it that like if you don't have extra batteries or whatever, you would need to use a film camera. But
yeah. But
you know,
basically, not to get too far into it now, it's one of those
yeah,
movies where, and a lot of people are making like comparisons to like who the fuck knows what's gonna happen here, where it's like Nick Offerman is the president, and like some of
mhm,
like he like disbanded the FBI. He somehow got like a third term in office, like all this kind of shit that's
yeah.
going on.
And they
You're
kind
like,
of hint at stuff, but they never really outwardly say like what happened. It's just
right.
that it's more like the aftermath of
Yes, correct.
yeah.
And then you kind of follow Kirsten Dunst, who's a photographer.
Yeah,
And
she's
so
a
there's like,
war journalist. Yeah.
yeah, whatever.
Um, and so one of the cool things about this is they talk a little bit about like it's like a throwaway line, but they said she was like a Magnus photographer. Um, it's a real thing. Like this, like she was the youngest like Magnus photographer, like in the
Yeah.
so I don't know if do you know about this?
No, I have no
So
idea.
that it is a consortium of like the world's best photographers, and you have to get like elected to like be in this thing, and there's 44 like active members in the world. So it's like basically like Mensa for
Oh,
photography.
that's crazy.
And like yeah, I mean if you go on like their website and like check out the stuff, it's like basically it's like being like a Michelin star photographer.
Got it.
Like you're the best in the world at what you do.
Hmm,
And it's called like the Magnus Photography Consortium or something like that. But
that's interesting.
so that was kind of cool.
Yep.
Um Magnum. So Magnum, not I said Magnus, Magnum. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Proper condoms for policemen who like eating Burger King. Proper whopper copper condom on.
All right. As you were saying.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, that won the Emmy, right? I think, or he won the Emmy for
He did.
Baby Reindeer. Yeah.
Yeah. Was
Yeah,
it
the
limited
Emmys.
series comedy or something? Even though it wasn't really like.
Yeah. You see, they were on the red carpet. They were asking like everybody if The Bear's a comedy, and like most people are like, no,
I don't think so.
Well, some people said yes, and they're like, well, it's a dramedy. It's like, you're not really answering the question. Not really doing that. No, but this was as they're saying in the chat too. Taylor in the chat saying how like it was stressful. This movie is pretty stressful. There's a lot of high intensity scenes. It almost played out almost like a video game in a way, right? Like there's all these like battles going on around you, but like the main characters really in this one are these like photographers, and so like they're going like in and out of these war zones and like taking pictures, sort of telling their story as they go, as they're like traveling across the country, which has like been ripped apart and people having to choose sides and all that shit. So no, it's definitely like a well-made movie. It just certainly wasn't one of my favorites of the year. Would you say it is a must-see?
I wouldn't say it's a must-see. I think it's, and again, this was one of those movies where like I had a pretty stressful week, so like this was kind of like I was actually like, in the headspace to kind of like, okay, like I'm already like in it a little bit. If I was in like a really good mood and then watch this, I don't think I would have liked it as much. I don't know if that makes sense, but like if it ruined my mood, I would have been like, but it actually was like right in line with, but again, super stressful. And, but the way that Kirsten Dunst acted in this movie, she was just like someone who had seen some shit. She doesn't smile. Like, I'm not saying that women in film should smile, but like you could tell that like there were some demons.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah,
there, and it was fun to watch. So they take on like this young photographer, and to watch them, like kind of their experiences kind of cross each other. Was kind of like a cool thing to watch. Are we in spoilers? No, we're not. We're not doing.
Oh no, let's just. I say we do all spoiler free for both, and then we'll get into spoilers.
Okay.
Yeah, don't do that yet. Right. So anyway, so you're saying not really must see. You liked it though.
I did like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say because it's free and like it's definitely worth a watch. Although I think there are a lot of movies that I enjoyed more that's came out so far this year. What is your hashtag dork score for?
I'm going to give this a 4.5.
All right, I'm going to go 3.5.
Yeah.
I thought like there were some cool scenes. There's one scene in particular that stands out to me. But I don't know. It was more kind of like middle of the road. A couple of other movies I saw recently that I think it's slightly better than. I watched A Quiet Place Day One. I think it's a little bit better than that.
And I watched. Like I was going to say, if you liked A Quiet Place movie, I would have been.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't. This one might be a little bit better. I do like Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
And then Watchers. I watched M. Night Shyamalan's Daughter's movie.
Is that the one with Dakota Fanning? Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to like this one. Like I liked the idea of it, but it was like the payoff was really poor. So I didn't
that's
like
the thing with the Shyamalans. Like their payoffs suck.
Yeah, most of them do. And so anyway, Civil War was all right. So I'm going 3.5. Davey's going 4.5. You can let us know what you think in the chat. We'll circle back to spoilers here in a moment, but let's get into Boy Kills World. This one is now streaming on Hulu. This is the Bill Skarsgård kind of crazy looking movie based on the trailers. This was one I certainly had circled. It is 1 hour and 51 minutes currently on Roddy T's 59% critics, 72% by the audience. And Ryan, Boy Kills World, did you like it?
Not really.
Okay.
It's all right.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I probably we might be flipped on these. So I'm with you. I don't think it was great. And I also thought that the trailer made it look like it was even crazier. It's actually a little less crazy. It's less crazy.
That's what disappointed me. I thought this was going to be like a John Wick-esque. Now there's definitely some gore and there's definitely some like stylized fight scenes, but like you could have cut a half hour out of this movie.
Yeah, it was surprisingly long for what it was.
Right.
But it was still very fun. Like these are different types of movies. They're both
Yeah.
dystopian, right? They're both their own kind of thing. Civil War is a little bit more like you could really see how it could get there. The other one a little bit different, but it's that same idea. This one's obviously more of a comedy. Civil War is not a comedy at all.
Yeah.
This is a comedy. This is going for big action shots and big crazy like death scenes and things like that. So I like that. I was very interested in this. I was more excited to watch this one than Civil War. I thought the story was whatever. It made sense. I actually kind of thought it was a little bit predictable. Like one of the like things.
Yeah.
That
was that, and I talked to you about this before we started. I was like, as soon as people show up on screen, I'm like, oh, that's who that is. Oh, that's who that is. Like, so it was that guy, that relationship isn't what you think it is. I've seen too many of these things. It seemed a little derivative is the word I would use.
Once. Shame on me. Twice.
Yeah.
Maybe the other way around, but but definitely a better Bill Skarsgård movie than The Crow. I'll give him that. Like it was,
because he didn't speak.
Didn't say a goddamn word. What a bizarre film. Now when we watched the trailer for it, we were like, how is this going to play out? Because it's what's his name? Who's the famous guy that does the voice?
John Benjamin. John Benjamin.
Thank you. Who's
Bob's Burgers and
yes,
Archer.
Excellent. So he's obviously really good. So yeah, Bill Skarsgård just goes through. Now he's ripped and he looks good. Didn't you think a lot of these guys looked like Tekken characters? Like
I think that was kind of the plan.
Yeah, it felt like that. It looked like it was like sort of a video game type of thing. I would say this one, to me, it's closer to being a must see than Civil War, just because it's a fun kind of genre type thing. I'm with you. They should have trimmed it down. If they took out 20 minutes, you could have really sold this as like one of the most fun movie going, shoot 'em up kind of comedy killing movies. But
right,
a little long.
like weird.
Yeah, you didn't need to go this long. Made no sense to go this long.
No,
like John Wick, like the John Wick movies can be as long as you want because they're excellent. Like they're so good.
But it's also like
the story's so good,
and it's nonstop. Like this, like they would stop the action, and you'd be like, okay, like get back into it. Like okay, we caught our breath. Let's go, and it just kind of dragged a little bit.
Yeah, let's ramp it up a little bit. What do you think of the comedy in this?
There were some lines in there that were pretty funny.
Yeah.
But other than that, so Brett Gelman, who from, if you've seen the other guys, he's the Arnie Palmies. He's the guy I know I think he's got to have a beard that I'm really hairy, but Christina's husband and the other guys. He's really funny.
He's in Stranger Things. He's funny in Stranger Things. And he was in Fleabag too. I don't know if you guys watched Fleabag.
Right. That's another one that people keep recommending to me. I haven't watched it. He's actually really funny. I would. Anything he's in is funny.
Yeah, so he was good. Famke Janssen. It was good to see Famke Janssen again. Hadn't seen her in a while. She was excellent in the X-Men movies as Jean Grey and the Phoenix, and then she was really good in Maid. Right? Yeah, it was Maid.
Yes, she plays the girlfriend in Maid. Yeah. And I think other than like Patrick Stewart and who played Magneto,
Fassbender. Oh no, Ian McClellan.
No, Ian McClellan. Other than those two, she was the oldest person in that movie. She's 60 years old.
No way! Shut your mouth.
Yeah,
Famke Janssen is.
Yeah. God. She's great in Rounders too. By the way, don't sleep on Rounders.
She was.
And also 6 feet tall.
Yeah, tall, real tall,
long.
Yep, she's real long. She was good.
She's 59, but still.
Nah, okay, you're rounding up, but that's fine. Hilda Vanderkoy, the head of the Vanderkoy family.
That's right.
Very good. All right, what's your dork score for Boy Kills World?
I'd give it a 3.5.
I'm gonna go 4.
Yeah,
4. I liked it more than you did. But I can't talk it up. Unfortunately, I texted you before I had seen both of these, and I was like, "What do you think about doing these two movies on the podcast?" And you're like, "Yeah, sounds good." We weren't sure what else to do, and then after I watched them both, I was like, god damn it! They're kind of in that middle ground where they're not amazing. I'm not super excited about them, but they don't suck by any means either. So you can't even shit on them. They're both fine. You can see why nobody's really talking about either one too much. Again, my biggest takeaway with Boy Kills World is we watched the trailer for it. And you're like, this movie looks fucking insane. We don't know what's going on. And then you watch it, you're like, really not that insane.
Really not that insane. Yeah, they kind of head faked us with this one.
Somewhat
But
straightforward.
I mean, if you need a mindless action movie, like
Yeah.
you could walk out of the room for 10 minutes, this movie, come back and know exactly what's going on.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You'd be able to pick up the pieces, I would say. Yeah.
You know what? I love Sharlto Copley too. The guy from Section 9 or District 9.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep.
He's really good. I like him a lot.
Very good. Yeah. There's he was Glenn Vanderkoy, Melanie's husband. Very good.
Yes.
All right. So Davey's going 3.5. I'm going to go 4 for Boy Kills World. So you can let us know on that as well. So Boy Kills World and Civil War. And let's get into spoilers. Want to do spoilers?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do that.
Spoilers! Spoilers! Here come the spoilers!
All right. So with Civil War, I feel like to me, the best scene by far, one of the most tense scenes, but also the one that I was the most engaged in, the most interested is the Jesse Plemons scene.
Yeah.
And
I think we talked about this. Like, he wasn't even supposed to be in it. Like, he's married to Kirsten Dunst, so he was like there, and they had this idea for the scene, but like, we're like, do you want to be in it? And he's like, okay. And he just like, he did it in like a day.
And it's the best scene. I think it's the best scene. Yeah.
And he is like,
scary.
What's crazy is how calm he is the entire time.
Yeah, he's awesome. And I know Mac and Goo have been all over the if life hands you Plemons, make Plemonade. And
he definitely did.
Every movie he's in, he makes Plemonade. And this is the perfect example because he's in it for 10 minutes. Maybe less than 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just such an amazing scene. And they even used it in the trailer where he's just like, well, like he's calm.
You're American. Yeah.
Well, what kind of American are you? And they're like, oh boy. And you're like, and while he's like holding like a fucking machine gun, he's like holding it down. He's got these crazy glasses on. Like, it's unsettling. Do not match the body and the face glasses.
No, he's got these like bright red, almost pink sunglasses. And like in my head, so like I did this thing where I gave him a backstory, like he has all these bodies and he's like putting lye on them and they're like this like big mass grave. And in my head, I'm like, he took that off of someone.
Oh, the glasses were somebody.
He took those off of somebody.
100%. No, that's a good call.
Yeah. So like even then, that's fuck. Because you said he's wearing all camo. He's got an M6, like a what do they call it? Like an M16. It's like a AR. Yeah, AR-15. And he's just like just kind of like scratching his nose, but he's got these like almost like heart-shaped pink glasses on. You're like, this is fucked.
It's so fucked. And he's just like,
and he's asking like where they're from.
Yep.
And like, tell me about it. And she's like,
Colorado.
I'm from Missouri. I'm from Missouri. He's like, oh, the show me state. He's like, you know why they call it that? And she's like, no. And I was like, oh my God, she's gonna kill her.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know.
I know.
Yeah.
But then when she's like, yeah, I'm from Colorado. He's like, that's America. And then the other,
yeah.
What
you know what I would have said? You know what he would have said? He's like, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from New Hampshire.
Live free or die.
What would he have said? Yep. Say it again.
Live free or die.
Fuck yeah. that would have been our response.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm just trying to get him on my side.
I'm like, where do you want me to be from, sir? Well, he shot the one guy like right off the rip.
Because he's Chinese.
Yeah. So he shot him right away.
Yep.
Yeah, that was intense. Like, I just think like that like sucked, that pulled my attention in, and I thought that was great. And there were plenty of other really tense scenes, but I don't know. I wasn't super attached to the characters. I also, and I think they did this on purpose, but we didn't really know what like all the fighting was about. And I guess that wasn't the point of the movie, right? But like we mentioned how like they sort of give you like a few nuggets here about like what the president was doing. You hear him speak a little bit, but you don't really know. And I almost wonder if that would be more interesting. A more interesting movie was like how they got there rather than.
And
like,
they drop these little nuggets like California is its own thing now.
Yep.
And Texas is its own thing. And they're like, those people from those states are more than welcome to come back.
Right.
Like they're welcome back if they want to like surrender.
Yeah. It reminded me of the Scott Snyder comic Undiscovered Country. Is it Undiscovered Country? Yeah, I think that's what it's called. And yeah, I haven't even finished it, but it's the same idea where you like break up the country, right? So there's like different states that like are working together, and like it's just a whole disaster. But yeah, they're just going and they're just ripping pictures. And then how about the other guy, the guy that they're with, who's like his whole thing is he wants to interview the
Well,
president.
he's a
Like,
journalist. Yeah. So he's like
he
an
hasn't
actual.
done an interview in like 9 months or whatever. And he's like, he
Right.
wants to do it. And then the movie ends with him, like this president's about to be like shot, and he's like, "Can I get a quote?" And then the guy's like, "Don't let him kill me." He's like, "Good enough."
Good enough.
Good enough.
Mhm.
Like, all
That's
right.
good enough. But what I love about this too is like there was a scene like right at the end, and again we're in the spoilers now, so like it's like the last scene, like they're going through the White House, like they're actually in the White House, and they're like behind these soldiers, and you see, and it was funny because like you watch, what was the younger? It was Lee was Kirsten Dunst's character, and then I forget what was the younger kid's name?
Let me see. Jesse.
Jesse. So like you see Kirsten Dunst like doing these things like at the right time. Like so like she's like, all right, she's gonna move like dart across the hallway, like when she knows like someone's reloading, or she knows that like
Yep.
and then she can move. And then Jesse tries to do it at the wrong time. And that's when Kirsten Dunst like jumps in front of her and dies. But that shot she gets like right as she's just before she gets shot, where she like she's like turning, like looking at her. Like that's the one thing that I really, and again, I don't want to talk too much photography here, but like that when they did that thing where like someone presses a button and they showed the picture they got,
That was cool.
the pictures were fucking awesome. And they were like, really well composed, like really well shot. And like, there's like little talk that they were saying that like, Kirsten Dunst, like, yeah, it's like a 30-1 keeper rate. Like when you're in this, and it's, I deal with that all the time. Like the joke that I tell people all the time is like, oh, like, did you get any good pictures? And I'm like, I don't take bad pictures.
Yeah.
And people are like, ooh, I'm like, no, I do. You just never going to see them.
Yeah, right.
Like, I take, anytime I go to a concert, I'm not kidding, I take like 800 photos. You'll probably see 10 of them.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it goes, right? So like but listening to them like talk shop
That's
and
cool.
like these little breaks was actually really cool. Like how she develops her film, and like all, again, I don't know why you're fucking, where you're gonna find film if you run out.
Yeah. I don't
You
know
know?
how I don't know how that's all gonna
Yeah, I don't
go.
know how that's gonna work. But
One thing I did think was interesting too was just the way that like all the people that were like at war were used to like the press just like flanking
just
them,
being there. Yeah.
just like being there, and like they're not getting shot. I mean, yeah, Kirsten Dunst gets shot, but that's sort of different. But like in these other settings, they're like around them, but they're like almost like ignoring them and like just like going about their battles like during the day.
And so there are two things that stood out with that too. So like there was an awesome line that Kirsten Dunst says, that she's like, basically the realization that she says like, all those pictures I took of other places, I sent home as a warning.
Yeah.
And like this, we're not that far off, or like this could happen. Like this is a warning to you.
Yep. Yep.
And then the scene where Kirsten Dunst, Lee, gets shot, and you see Jesse like has like this look of like shock on her face. And the whole time she's been crying, she's been like throwing up on herself. She's like just a mess because like this is all new to her and it's super scary. And her face just goes blank. And she like sits up like the Undertaker. Like, and her face is just, it's like she gets it now.
She has seen it all.
She's seen it.
Yeah.
And I love that. She's like, if I die, you're going to take a picture of it. And she's like, what do you think? And then she actually gets a shot of
she sure does.
Lee dying.
Yeah, she sure does.
So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's fucked up to think. I mean, someone was like, would you do that? I was like, no, I would never be a war photojournalist ever.
Oh, God.
Ever. And they're like, why? I'm like, because I'm a fucking coward. I would not do that.
No, I don't want, that would be the worst.
I am an absolute coward. I would not do it.
No, thank you. Yeah, let's somebody else do that. Who was your favorite character in this?
Well, I mean,
Plemons. I mean, he's like
Plemons
he's the most compelling character as a bad guy.
And I did like, what's the guy, Sammy, who the older guy who they're.
Yeah, dude, he was good.
Poor Sammy.
Pouring out for Sammy. Yeah, he was really good too. Anything else Civil War before we do Boy Kills World spoiler?
It was cool to like how some of them were just so used to it. Like there was a scene where like there was that other news team that was with like the Western Army or something like that, and they were doing like an interview, like a news, like, oh, here we are, we're in front of the White House, and like the Beast is like right out front, like the president's car is like right out front, and then a Hummer like blows by them and like almost hits them. She's like, ah, shit, I gotta do that. All right, I gotta do that again. Like like it just didn't.
Yeah.
You get so it's like, you know what it reminded me of? It was the Hurt Locker.
Oh yeah, it did have a feeling of that. It's just like, a lot of chaos.
And people just desensitized to like the most horrific shit.
Yep,
ever.
that is a good comparison. No, that's
Yeah.
true. Very good. So let us know what you guys thought of Civil War. As for Boy Kills World, we're talking about it's a cool story anyway, but then it just felt like, all right, it's kind of predictable. And so basically they take the Bill Skarsgård character as a kid, and then he gets brainwashed. And so it's a good idea by that guy to be like, all right, you're gonna now, like, your mom is responsible for my family being dead, so I'm gonna brainwash you to train you to kill your family.
Right.
But then as soon as you saw who they referred to as June 27th,
June 27th.
you're
Yeah.
like, right away, you're like, all right, that's
You're like,
his
oh, so that's his sister.
You're like 100%. You're like, that's his sister. And then it
Yeah.
was. That's the
And
girl
then-
from Happy Death Day, though, isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so like she takes her, the helmet comes off, and then like the little hallucination, like the little younger version of his sister who's like a hallucination. She's like, oh, she's pretty. I'm like, all right, so that's his sister.
Yeah, it was so obvious.
And then
because they also just like, he thought she was dead, but she really, there's never confirmed that she was dead.
right, you never saw it. And then like when Famke Janssen sees him for the first time, like, all right, so that's his mom.
But still,
I don't know
like,
how the pieces fit together kind of janky. Like it wasn't like,
yeah, but I mean, it wasn't like a wild twist, but it was still like a cool idea, because then you see like what really happened, and it was like, not only did Famke Janssen kill that dude's family in front of him, but she like made the boy kill him, like shoot him.
yeah,
So then that guy, he obviously escapes, and then he just
the
same
shaman.
Yeah, the
They call
shaman.
him,
Then
yeah.
he like blows out his eardrums. Fucked. He like burned, like literally
Yeah.
burns him out. So the guy, like, just crazy. But it is a funny little backstory where he's like, I don't remember like what any male voices sound like, so I'm just using the video game, like the arcade game
that we like to play.
Yeah, that's the voice I use
And
for myself.
John Benjamin's voice is actually, it's amazing. Like I would listen to him do anything. Like he's probably like the best voiceover person.
It's good. It was
Yeah.
funny too. Like it wasn't. I feel like they played it kind of just right, like where it wasn't like too much. Like it was kind of like getting on that line for me, but then it was like, no, like it's still, then it would zip back into like ultra violence, and then it'd be like kind of funny. But they didn't do too many, especially with his voice. It leads you to being like, you almost think like at the end of every sentence, it's going to be like oh shit,
joke.
like a joke, like a something,
Yeah.
or like you're just waiting for a guy to slip on a banana peel, like when you hear his voice. Yeah, but it wasn't that. But like some of the fight scenes were pretty insane. And like the last one where he's like, they're just like cutting each other up, and they take the little like
the tooth,
and they're just like
the claw,
slicing each other with it.
the tiger claw, whatever it was.
Pretty great.
But I
fight.
did like, was it Basho was like, all right, you do that, and I'm gonna do cart stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, what's cart stuff? And I thought this is incredibly incorrect, but like I thought the fact that he couldn't read the black guy's lips was like the best running joke in the whole movie.
Oh my god.
Like
yeah,
he couldn't,
that was outrageous. And it was just
with
like,
the beard and everything, like he couldn't see his lips.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know what he's saying. He's like, this is obviously a pretty important thing. They're going over the plan.
Yeah.
And it's so good because then
I'm gonna nod and pretend like, yeah.
So there's like, then you forget about that, and then they're going through all this chaos, and he's like up against it, and then those two guys emerge, and they're like, dude, great job, like sticking with the plan. It's like, you distracted him, great job. And he's like, yeah, of course. Like that, to me, that was fun. Like that was chaos, and like the guys working with them together, and just like the scene, and it's this like cereal brand thing, and they're like, it's just nonsense. It's like this big, it's pretty good. Like, so the guy from Stranger Things like fucking hates it. Like he just wants to get out of there. But the rest of the family is like insane. And then I love Famke Janssen's character hasn't like spoken publicly in a super long time, and then she does, and she's just like nuts. And everyone's like, oh shit, like get her out of there. Get her out of there.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, I thought for what it was, I just thought it was gonna be a little bit crazier, but there's plenty of like blood and guts violence and some good jokes.
But just oddly paced. Like I said, it's just like,
it was missing something.
Too much time in between those things.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too much. Also, the kid, a young Bill Skarsgård's character, is the Homelander's kid from
Ryan.
The Boys. Yeah,
it's Ryan from The Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, Bill Skarsgård's best acting performance is You never said a goddamn word.
Didn't have to. Didn't have to. He screamed a couple times, I think. That might have been
A couple times, yeah.
that might have been it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was probably the best character. His sister wasn't bad. Trying to think who else. Well, I mean, you already mentioned it. Well, the same with the Gideon Vanderkoy he was good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
I like Basho too.
Basho was really funny. Basho was good.
I like that name too.
Basho. Yeah, Basho's not bad. All right, there you go. There's a couple more movies on the 2024 list that we're ripping through.
Watch them if you want. We don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't care.
Do what you
We
want.
did.
It's a free
We
country.
We
It's a
watched
free
them.
country. Do whatever.
All right, next week TBD. We have a couple more weeks, and then we have. Oh, maybe we'll do the Penguin episode 1.
We can do the Penguin. We can do Agatha too. First two Agathas.
Penguin and Agatha.
Uh-huh.
There you go. Look at
There
us.
you go. Boom bam.
Bang, bang, bang. So next Monday night, join us for the Penguin episode 1 and Agatha episodes 1 and 2. And then I think we'll have one more week, and then we are into Dorktober 9.
Hell yeah.
We're 9. So let's get it at Dork Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. For follow, subscribe, all that stuff everywhere you can. And email us, dorkpodcast@gmail.com. Davey promised me a million times over, you'll never do another rule.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to promise you that.